This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so for starters, we are meeting virtually online due to the coronavirus pandemic under orders from Governor Cuomo. The meeting notice is published on the village website, and a link to this meeting is published on the village website. And any member of the public that wishes to observe our deliberations may join and observe them from the website links. We can also accept public comment and allow the members of the public to speak. With that said, I'll make a motion to open the planning board meeting. The date is January 20th, 2021, and it is 6:45 p.m.
Second.
How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let the record show all 5 members of the planning board are present and all voted in favor of opening the meeting. Our attorney, Mindy Zoglin, is also present, and the building inspector is present. We also have applicant Jenny Collins, Casey Dunlavey, and Elisa Plummer as a member of the public that has also joined the meeting at this time. Okay, okay, so we had a workshop session a little bit before this where we were discussing some sections of code and how to interpret them. And we heard a note from the building inspector that the 8 Shane Place project is getting updated drawings in the near future. And the location of the pavilion is being moved slightly. So it has moved off of the Canal Court property. The parking lot is being shrunk to 2 handicap parking spaces, which will allow the pavilion to be moved. And that'll also open up some area for plantings and landscaping. So we'll get some updated drawings based on that. Does anyone have anything to present or any questions? I think we had a little bit of discussion in our workshop about the location of handicap parking spaces. The location that they're in this drawing is where my interpretation is what the building inspector thought makes the most sense. And I believe it's also what the applicant thought makes the most sense. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so first of all, on the handicap parking spot location, does anyone have any further concerns or questions about those?
I do not.
Okay. And my understanding from talking to the building inspector and hearing from him earlier, we had a discussion last week about possibly putting parallel parking spots to free up more space. And the commentary from the building inspector is parallel parking spots are difficult or discouraged for handicap. You need to exit on the driver's side, and you still need that foot wide access lane regardless of orientation. Is that correct, Steve?
You're breaking up, Justin.
Okay, I could try moving the computer if it's breaking up more, but let's talk about the parallel handicap spot. Please, someone wave their hand if I'm still breaking up.
No, you're good.
Okay, so Steve, the building inspector's concerns about the parallel parking spots along the road was that access on the driver's side would be impaired. You normally need, what is it? Is it an 8-foot wide access aisle, Steve?
Yes.
So even if you had a 8-foot wide parking spot and an 8-foot wide access aisle, that's still 16 feet, which is almost the same size as a perpendicular parking spot, correct?
Correct. And then if somebody would get stuck there, if you had 2 parallel parking spots, one behind the other, whoever's in the front spot, if somebody's parked behind, they ain't getting out.
Yeah, okay. So so it doesn't sound like that the parallel spots, given the need for an 8-foot wide access aisles, would actually benefit that much. And this orientation sounds like it makes more sense for safety and a lot of other reasons. And that's what everyone else seems to prefer. So I just wanted to summarize some of that discussion and summarize how this came to be. Another discussion from last week is we asked for some commentary from about compliance with the comprehensive plan and compliance with the village's local waterfront revitalization plan. And there's quite a few things noted that this really advances some of the goals in those two plans. And I personally thought that was a good conversation to have because this is, as the building inspector has stated, we're gaining some new handicap parking spot for people to the canal. We're gaining some new space that can be used by the public. We're gaining some new landscaping. I'm not going to summarize everything, but I thought that was a useful conversation to have because if we're advancing some of the priorities identified in the comprehensive plan, the waterfront revitalization plan, I really think that's a good justification for variances. Go ahead, Mindy, you have a comment there?
No, Steve, I'm sorry, Justin, you're starting to break up.
Okay. I don't know why I'm breaking up. I should have very good Wi-Fi performance here, but that's what it is. If I'm breaking up, then maybe someone else should do a little talking.
Nice try.
Well, the comment, if I'm not breaking up, is I think that if this is advancing goals in the comprehensive plan and local waterfront revitalization plan, I think that is a very good justification for granting variances and very good consideration to make. The discussion we had was whether we make the parking lot the biggest size that will fit, or we maximize some of the public use amenities. And discussion previously was let's make the parking lot the minimum size and get more public use out of this site. And again, that was underscored by both the comprehensive plan and the local waterfront revitalization plan. So I think that makes sense. I really like that.
Hey, Justin?
Yes.
The other thing, and I don't know if there's any bearing on it too, the original, if you look back through our history, our records, the original thought from Mr. Collins was that this was going to be a shared space, that this was a shared public space and it would only be used for parking when it could not be used for a shared public space. So I think that, you know, kind of, I don't know whether it's any bearing at all, but I like the fact that that was Mr. Collins's original idea, to have that be a shared public space, and that's what it's going to become.
Okay. So as I saw this last sketch, does anyone else have any comments on the sketch? I do have one more comment, but I want to give everyone else a chance to talk first.
I had a question about the height of it. So it looks like it's 9 foot 10 inches to the eave. Is that right, Jenny?
I would have to grab the plan for a minute myself to double check that. Just a minute.
Or I just want to, I think I read somewhere there's a minimum of 12 feet. Am I right, Steve?
No.
No?
We fashioned it to replicate the measurements of the one that is already there. So
Okay.
that was where that height came from.
So the little cupola on the top, that adds, so what's the total height?
It's under 20 feet, and I believe the maximum, if you look in the code, the maximum for the structure, accessory structure, I believe, if I remember from earlier today, is 20 feet.
Okay.
And the same thing, that was the existing pavilion that is between the proposed one and the canal has the identical piece on the top.
Little thing on the top? Okay. Just wondered.
Yep.
I'm just going to revisit a topic from last time, Steve, with you here as well. With regards to the roping off or the fencing around it in order to allow for the sale of alcohol, to what degree is any of that roping off section going to have permanent bollards? Would they be aesthetically more pleasing, or are you going to just do simple things that sit on the ground with some weight to them?
Well, I don't understand. There needs to be no roping off now. If the pavilion is moved back onto Jenny's property completely, the tavern overlay is increased to encompass that area, there's no reason that alcohol can't be utilized throughout the whole structure. So it's a shared space. So available tables, an available table to a food, somebody wants to just sit and talk or have food or have a beer.
Were you
Appreciate that.
talking about the state liquor authority
Yeah.
guidelines, Dave?
Yes.
No, I was just saying that's different than what we had talked about last week. So I just wanted to see where we stand on that.
Right, because they would not have been able to serve on canal property. So that is another kind of a nice thing to move it back onto completely Collins's property. You would have had to rope off or make some delineation between where the canal property was and the rest of the pavilion, which would have been kind of strange. So
just to repeat, it's your interpretation, Steve, that no roping off or quartering off of any area of this space is required in order for the brewery or any other restaurant to have to sell alcohol onto that space.
correct.
Casey, it might have been, are you on, Casey?
Yeah, here. So my interpretation of what the liquor authority requires is Steve, some sort of barrier, whether it's a rope or a fence or anything, just to delineate the space and basically allow patrons to know where they can and cannot go within the licensed property. So I think what we had talked about was maintaining, albeit possibly different, some sort of rope with entrances as we have it now around the entire property, just to delineate the actual space that's licensed. In speaking to the columns we have there now, what we did was we essentially drove a stake in through the concrete and then hollowed out the wood beams that we have there. So technically they're not really permanent because I could pull them up at any point. But they certainly give that appearance and are a lot more sturdy than something that we just would, weight down. That would be sitting on top of the pavement. But as far as I'm concerned, in order for us to serve outside and have that license, I would have to have some form of delineation there. And maybe, and I can check with the state liquor authority, maybe the landscaping as is, maybe that would suffice, but it's something I would have to check into.
You're muted.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was done.
Yeah, no, this recalls our discussion, for the space in back of what is now Blue Horn. Same deal, needs to be roped off.
All right, I had maybe a couple additional questions. For Ms. Collins, I wasn't sure what is done for snow removal and where snow is piled up. So I didn't know if the reconfiguration of the parking lot affects that at all. I presume you have an area where you pile snow and have plans to handle that. And this will, if you want to comment on any of that.
Yes, in fact, my son does all the snow removal. And he was ecstatic if there's fewer parking spots from which we have to remove it and push it around. Our interpretation has been that this will actually make it much easier for snow removal. I would be making it up if I was giving you more details than that, but that's my understanding. If you need something more specific, I can ask him to detail that for me for the next meeting.
Well, I guess the question is, I'm just stating that that's one of the factors in the site plan applications is a snow removal plan. And I didn't know what we needed or if we need anything. So I didn't know what is done there. Obviously, it's been done. As far as I know, it hasn't caused any problems. And I was expecting you to do whatever you've been doing. I just don't know what you've been doing. I also don't know if I need to know that. So, so if you have any comments on snow removal, great. Other than
what I can say is we've been successfully doing it for as long as I can remember, and if anything, this necessitates less snow removal.
But I think Justin's asking a different question, which is where's the snow going?
Well, I can go in the other room and ask him if you want to give me 2 or 3 minutes.
Sure. Well, so I guess the key question is, are you piling snow up somewhere? And if so, where? And if you're hauling it off site, then if you have such a statement, that's fine. So that's okay. All right. I guess we're finding that out right now.
And then while she's finding that out, Steve, if you're going to characterize those parking spaces as not being in a front yard, she'll probably need to provide a site plan that shows that this lot crosses both sides of Shane Place.
Okay.
Because right now, the only part of the only map we have shows the lots directly on Shane Place, but nothing across the street.
Right. I will make sure I talk to the engineer tomorrow and make sure he encompasses the whole plot. I believe he is anyways, because we need that as far as the Monroe County submission also to show the entire property. So, but I will talk to him tomorrow in regards to that.
Great. Yeah, that'll make your determination a little easier, I hope.
I have an answer regarding the snow plowing. They drag it out of the spots and then turn around and push it across the street and down behind number 7 Shone Place all the way to the end. And that is apparently what we have done for at least the last 18 to 20 years.
So it's stored on, was it the Powers property line and the parking spots there?
No, Justin, they push it down to the end of their own space down behind Simply Crepes.
Yeah, that's adjacent to the Powers or the Corby, one of them.
Yeah, it's adjacent to it, yes.
Okay, so basically it's put in some of those parking spots over there.
Yes. It's pushed all the way to the end.
Yeah, same thing they've been doing forever. Since I've been here, that's where they've shoved the snow always.
Okay, I was just asking, and I didn't, part of that was not that I was concerned about it, but part of that is that's one of the factors they're supposed to look at is how is snow being dealt with. So that seems like that answers the question.
Yeah, and you have a little retention area right at the very end of the parking lot too. There's that hole and a little retention area that they always push the snow into, down behind Robert's Kitchens there.
That was actually a retention area that was created very early on when my father owned the properties, like I would say in the 1970s.
Okay, so anyway, Steve, you have no concerns about that snow removal plan, I presume, correct?
Not at all. They're like she said, you're chopping the snow removal by 3/4.
Okay, so this will make it better. Great.
Yep.
Another question from last week was about the RG&E easement. We haven't, so Steve, I hadn't heard any updates to this, but I know that the trustees have been talking for many, many years about getting a lease on that property to put in additional parking. And I haven't gotten any firm opinion from anybody as to whether that's happening, whether it's not happening, or what's going on with that. I assume you don't know of anything either.
It will not happen. My understanding is that will not happen because of the fact that the price just went up exponentially. If it would have happened many years ago, maybe they would have been able to do it, but nowadays, the last time they looked into it, it was well beyond the means of the village.
Okay, so that is that strip of land that's highlighted over there. So the Canal Corp, or not the Canal Corp, RG&E would rather get nothing than get something, and hold out for maybe big bucks from some other time, but that's their prerogative.
All right, is there any more like questions or concerns regarding this so I can convey them to the engineer?
Something I was thinking of going over is taking a look at the application requirements and seeing if we can figure out what we don't need and what we do need, unless you already have a good handle on that, Steve.
I'd like to hear your guys, opinions on it. It's much, you're the ones who are going to review it, so.
All right, I got a document. Given I'm breaking up, Mr. Lightgib, can I just email this to you and maybe we go through it?
Sure.
All right, give me 1 minute here.
And I do believe we're going to be, I think we'll have a much more complete application materials from the engineer. He's a village engineer, a neighboring village engineer. He's very familiar with the planning and zoning requirements in talking to him today. So I believe the information that he will provide will be a lot more complete for what you need too.
Okay, I'm just sending this out at the moment.
You have two screens working, Justin?
I do.
Justin liked it?
No, I've just got a 27-inch monitor here. I got to bring up my other screen. It's elsewhere in the house.
Gotta check my fire.
Okay, I just got your doc. Give me a second to open that up.
I put some initial thoughts in there.
There we go.
So if you want to zoom in on that, we can just scroll through them one by one and
Sure.
see if there's any debates about any of this.
Do you want to start down at number 1 on the application form, including the name, address, signature of the applicant, property owner, developer, and seal of the engineer, architect, or landscape architect?
Yeah, that's all the standard stuff. I can't imagine anything coming in without that.
Yep.
We do need stamped drawings.
So the second one is description or narrative of all proposed uses and structures, including but not limited to hours of operation, peak number of employees, maximum seat capacity, and proposed number of off-street vehicle and bicycle parking spaces, which you marked as needed.
I submitted a narrative with all of those items several months back.
Yeah, I saw that narrative.
Okay, shall we go down to 3, which is a site plan drawn at a scale of 1/4 inch equals 1 foot or such other scale as a planning board may deem appropriate on standard 24-inch by 36-inch sheets with continuation on 8.5-inch by 11-inch sheets as necessary for written information.
Yeah, well, we need the site plan drawing. That's
Sure.
basically what it is.
Yeah.
Whatever scale makes sense.
Mhm.
The land survey is the next one. I think one question is whether or not we need to show just the area in question or the entire property. What I heard from Mindy is she wants to see some documentation that the street goes through the middle of the property and that there's buildings on both sides.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I will convey that to the engineer tomorrow.
so would we need a land survey that shows all the buildings and the general property, or do we need the site plan to show that as well? Or does it not matter?
I think the site plan should show it too. You've got multiple structures that are going to be having customers using this pavilion.
He actually did an earlier version of the site plan, which had the other buildings on, so I don't see that there's any issue with the revised site plan having that as well.
Okay. So, and then the next things were what are supposed to be on the plans. And I think I had some initial comments there in yellow that maybe not all of this is needed, but per discussion today, like I don't think the ownership of all the buildings is the Collins. I don't think I have any concerns about the ownership of the adjacent buildings and adjacent uses. But
Like I said, the gentleman, the engineering firm that Mrs. Collins is employed, he is a village engineer. He's very familiar with planning and zoning. I believe he will come in with the things. He looked at the code with me. I believe he will come in with a complete plan that meets the requirements of you for a site plan review.
okay. So maybe we should browse through this fairly quickly then. And so we need a basic site plan document, and any engineer is going to know the basics of that. We need the landscaping plan, and we had a few comments on landscaping.
So I took the comments that were made last time. I also consulted with 2 different landscape consultants at Ted Collins Tree and Landscape, and we developed a list of plants together and have given it to the landscape architect at the engineering firm to incorporate. So I have confidence that the next version we see will have all of those things on there.
So I think 2 comments that came out of it was, at least for trees, to stick to native species. And I think one of our discussions was, if you're flowers, I don't think we need to necessarily get native flowers. What works. And then there's another comment that large trees that can cast some shade would be very nice addition. I think that was about it.
I passed that along. There were some pretty substantial concerns from the landscape consultants that some of those suggested varietals would really have difficulty with limited root space, and then with limited root space would have an imbalance of weight, and so in ice storms could be a problem. So they've made, as I mentioned, 3 or 4 other recommendations that will come forward based on all of those things, the constrained root system area there and so forth.
That sounds excellent. I think that's exactly what we'd like. We're not the landscape architects, so at least for my concern is getting something that can make an attractive canopy and shade and grow there. But there's a lot of other considerations. We need to make sure it'll live. We need to make sure the roots don't damage anything and so on. So it sounds like you've got some good work being done on that. And so whatever commentary comes along with that, that would make sense. It sounds like that's good work. So continuing through this list, it sounds like that next one, E there, is pretty straightforward. You know, location of parking areas, driveways, sidewalks, and so on. That does bring up the question of sidewalks, but I can talk about that later. Waste and trash management plan. I guess I have no idea what's being done for trash, but if there's some trash receptacles there or dumpsters, I can't imagine what's being done is going to make things significantly worse.
That's correct, and I included that in the narrative as well. We have adjusted the number of pickups and so forth routinely every season to be responsive to when there is more or less use, and that's what we'll continue to do. There's no change in that.
Okay, so the next thing is lighting plan. And this is something, I mean, if your engineer wants to comment on it, that's fine. But in discussions with the building inspector, it sounds like if Steve can get out there at some point and at least measure the light levels to make sure they're adequate under existing lighting, you've only proposed some new lighting inside the pavilion. I'm not sure we need a dedicated lighting plan for the entire site that shows all the light levels, unless we know there's a problem. So I think that if Steve at some point can assess that, that would be great.
I'll do that before the official meeting to do for the site plan.
So, okay, good.
And there's no signs.
They said they might have one building mounted sign, and I think we said we'll let the HPB deal with that, and we're not very concerned about that. So next things are drainage. I think the basics were showing the downspout location and the stormwater system, and our understanding is the water from the roof is just going to water the plants, which is excellent.
Correct. It's going to be a rain garden.
Okay. Other than that, I don't think the basic information about that I'm content with. I don't think any. It's good for Steve that solves drainage. That description sounds great to me. I don't know if we need that much documentation on the system. Whatever satisfies Steve's needs. Elevations, we already have elevations, and those will be part of it, correct? Number 6. Number 7 is stormwater and erosion plans. I don't think we need any of that. Steve, do you have any comments?
No, as long as the runoff from the roof is taken care of, and when the construction is underway, the only thing they're going to be doing is digging some holes. There is no, like digging for a footer. We don't have to do any protection of the surrounding area because we're not disturbing other than for a sono 2.
Okay, so you don't need an elaborate description for any of that. You have a pretty good understanding of what's going on, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So that's number 9, disposal of construction waste. You'll handle any temporary dumpsters that they put out there and you'll deal with that.
Yep.
So other than what their landscape architect might want, I don't think this board is terribly concerned about drainage since it's already impervious surface. And it sounds like the new, they're actually decreasing impervious surface. Sounds like they're going to make it better. So I'm not very concerned about soil tests. Natural resources, again, they're not getting rid of any natural resources. Traffic studies, I see no need for a traffic study with this. Schedule for construction, I guess whatever satisfies Steve. Does anyone here have any concerns or questions about that? And I have no concern about county permits. We'll see whatever county planning says, but it sounds like getting rid of the Canal Corp permits is going to, that's going to help. And we've still found this to be a secret type 2 action, so that's not needed. So, so anyway, Steve, I presume this is good enough information for you. You can work with the applicant and the engineer.
Yeah, I like I said, I feel very good. The new engineer is very professional. He's on his game. I think, in all, I think it was a great move by Jenny, and I think we'll get a much more detailed drawing and make your job a lot easier, I believe, in the end.
Okay. One more topic I had was sidewalks. This is a discussion I had with the mayor. I mentioned to the mayor after our last meeting that we're talking about reconfiguring the parking lot a little bit. I think his eyes got opened up and said, hey, would that make room for a sidewalk? And right now we don't have a sidewalk on that side of the street. And I'm not sure if we need a sidewalk on that side of the street. So does anyone have any thoughts on or comments on the sidewalk that currently goes right along Shane Place on, there's one, I believe, right in front of Lock 32. And it just kind of ends at this parking lot. And then I think there's also no sidewalk in front of Aladdin's because it's parking spots.
Correct. There is no sidewalk in front of Lands. There's no sidewalk in front of Newcomb's for the realty offices there. There is a little sidewalk in front of Lock 32, but there never has been where the parking lot was. And typically people go around and utilize the canal path.
I would opt not for a sidewalk because then it would just stop at Aladdin's, or you're going to run it through their parking lot as well. And there's that raised sidewalk right there where it ends that goes across to the coal tower, and then you can cut up on the other side of the property. I would suggest that sidewalk here isn't necessary.
Okay, I wanted to have the discussion. I think that makes sense. We have the tow-path on that side. The sidewalk is traditionally on the other side of the street that goes full length of it there. So that goes all the way down to the barns and the other canal bridge. Okay. I don't have any other questions or comments, so it sounds like this is on a good track. It sounds like their plans are getting refined. Haven't heard of any significant concerns.
If there's nothing else to discuss in regards to this, I mean, I don't know how you like close this section or what else you have to do, but there's one other thing, and I don't know where it stands, Linda. Are you on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what?
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to say thank you to Linda.
Well, gee, thank you. I didn't do anything.
Well, I wasn't sure, and I don't want to steal your thunder here. I wasn't sure where your status stood.
Well, I was going to notify everyone tomorrow. Yeah. But thank you. Okay, end of discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linda.
Sure. Oh my God.
So I guess the one last thing here is if there's any public comments. Mindy, do we need to open the public hearing right now on the variances? It sounds like we're still waiting for clarity on exactly what variances are active and not.
Yeah, I think that since you're going to be getting a revised site plan, it doesn't make sense to have a public hearing on variances for a plan that's going to be changing because the whole thing's being moved away from the barge canal.
Okay. We do have a couple members of the public present. I'm certainly willing to hear their opinions if they want to share any. So we'll not open the public hearing right now, but always welcome comments. I think the only member of the public I see is Ms. Plummer. Do you have any comments?
Oh, hi, everybody. You know me, I always do. I think, thanks for doing such good work. I'm excited about the project and I support it. And I think any of the issues that have been raised are solvable. And I think it's really going to be a tremendous asset for Shane Place and, you know, really to kind of take us to another level of revitalization. So thank you. That's it.
Justin, since you did receive a substantive public comment, can you just note that Elise's comment will be, you'll consider the public comment period open and accept Elise's comment as a public comment? We'll just leave it open then. You know, I'd hate for her comments to not be attached to this project.
Did we lose him?
You're on mute, Justin.
He's on mute.
Oh, on mute. So you want to just note in our minutes that we have received a public a comment from the public?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, do you need my address? You know, do you need that for the record, all of that?
I have it.
You have it. Okay, thanks.
We know where you live.
That's true. You can hunt me down.
We do.
All right. I think between the last two meetings, I think we've had pretty substantial discussions about this, and I think we've covered all kinds of things. So the next step is we're waiting for the updated plans and we're waiting for the trustees to finish adopting their code. Do we want to set a new meeting date to discuss this? I think that would make sense beforehand. I don't know when Ms. Collins is likely to have updated drawings.
My understanding, and I think Steve confirmed it, is we're shooting for Monday.
That's my understanding also in talking to engineer today.
Okay, so the trustees, I believe, are proposing a meeting on February 16th to adopt theirs. Does it make sense for us to have a meeting before then? I'm just going to throw a suggestion that we could have one. We typically do them on a Monday, either February 1st or February 8th, where we can look at the new drawings and send along any comments.
I think February 8th is an HPB meeting. You can't do both on the same night.
That's right.
Any thoughts from other board members?
I don't think you need to meet until after the trustees have their meeting, correct?
Our
Well,
meeting,
that's when we'll vote on anything. I just didn't know if we wanted to have any comments on the drawings. It sounds like there's a pretty good understanding among everybody of what we're going to need, what's going to come along. So, and I haven't heard any big concerns among board members. So, Steve, so is the suggestion then that we just wait until after the trustees meeting? Well, I guess we have a regular meeting on the 15th. Is that correct, Linda?
our next meeting is the 22nd, right? Planning board, 22nd?
Yeah, it looks like that's the next one on the calendar.
Okay, so if our next meeting is on the 22nd, we're going to get new drawings, and the trustees are hearing this on the 16th. Ms. Collins, is that okay with you if we wait to our meeting on February 22nd?
I need a point of clarification from Steve, I think. Can those plans go ahead and go to the county before the meeting on the 22nd? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to submit them. The day I get them, they're going to the county.
All right.
I
I
have
just
I
wanted
have
to
a
make sure that that wasn't getting lost in the middle. So yes, if we send it, if Steve can send it to the county early next week, then it would be nice to have the county feedback back so that that's ready to go.
And they've been very good about it too, that I can contact them if we need it a few days early from the 30 days. I believe they'll turn it around for us. They've been very good about it. Go ahead, Linda, sorry.
Does anything need to be published for this next meeting? Legal notices.
Well,
Have you
once we
already
know
kn-
what the variances are, it sounds like they're changing potentially from the area variances that have been published. So the new ones would have to be published, I would imagine.
Okay, thank
Right,
you.
and are you doing site plan approval on this? Have you,
We're doing site plan and variances.
okay, have you noticed the site plan
I think we did, but
application yet?
I think we did, but I'm not at work, so I can't tell for sure. Right, Steve? I think we did it.
I think so, but we'll check tomorrow,
We
Linda.
have to check. Yeah, it was a while ago.
It wasn't October, and it wasn't November, and it wasn't December.
Oh,
So, you know, unless you
It hurts
noticed
to
it,
do public notice now then, right, for everything.
It says a public hearing for November 16th was published.
I thought so.
oh, I'm sorry. I thought the notes I have show that it was just for information only.
Well,
No,
they
this was
published the public hearing notice.
Yeah, this was published for November 16th.
I thought we did it.
Okay.
Does our meeting have anything to do, does it hinge on HPB?
Excuse me.
No,
No,
you
okay.
have to, HPB will not give any final opinion until any variance or site plan is approved.
Right.
Right. So if we don't give her the approval till February 22nd, when does she go to HPB?
First week of March.
Is that
Yeah,
okay, Jenny?
March 8th.
See, then she's going to want to start building, right?
In March, yeah. Now, I can talk to the HPB. They may be willing to pull in a meeting, or an off meeting in order to approve this, as long as the planning board is completed.
Okay, does anyone have any thoughts as to, if there is a desire to act sooner, the soonest the trustees can act is the 16th. Does anyone have any desire to meet that week? I don't know if it's needed. They need all of their approvals in line. I don't know when the HPB would want to meet. So it sounds like the 22nd is reasonable enough.
Right. And then if Steve can have the HPV meet earlier, then that would work.
Yeah, I'll talk. The 22nd is what day of the week?
The Monday.
Monday? All
Is that a
right.
holiday?
I'll reach out to them and see if they'd be willing to meet on the 23rd or 24th. Don't hate me, Linda.
It's all right. You're good.
Sorry, Linda.
It's okay.
All right. So I guess that's the plan. We will continue discussion about this then at our regular meeting on February 22nd. And I have nothing more to discuss about this tonight.
All right, I thank you all for all the work. I mean, I think it's a great project, great for the village, and really appreciate everybody's opinions and efforts to get this, completed.
So, and thank you to the applicant as well. I know it's been a lot of work with Steve, and it seems like this is finally coming together into something that's a nice plan. So thank everybody.
Mhm. Thank all of you.
Yep.
All right.
Going to make
Move
some
on
dinner.
to meeting minutes then.
All right,
you.
thank you all. I'm leaving. Have a good
Bye,
night.
Steve. Thank you,
Good night,
Steve.
Steve. Thank you.
Hey, Justin,
Go ahead.
could we take a 1 minute restroom break here?
Sure. Let's take a break for a couple minutes here.
All right, I'll just be right back.
Linda, what's going on?
Nothing, Joanne. Love you.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay, you'll hear from me tomorrow.
Okay.
have a quick question. Do we still have a public hearing open for South Street?
I think we did, but I think they withdrew their application.
So wouldn't it be good just for housekeeping, or if the application is withdrawn, I guess that, is that enough?
Withdrawal of the application really moots the public hearing, so you don't need to
Good.
do anything else for it.
And last I heard from Steve and Linda is they haven't heard more from the applicant. The applicant was not particularly happy after talking with the HPB. And the HPB's initial comments were not very favorable to what they're doing. They thought this addition was too big. So we'll see if they come back with something. You haven't heard anything, Linda, correct?
No, I think they were done.
So they'll either give us something or put up a for sale sign or not do
Right.
something.
Right.
As long as they don't storm the Capitol.
Right.
Okay, is everyone back and ready to go over meeting minutes? I think we had November 16th.
Sure, I can share that. That would be helpful. I had one on the first page, minor typo.
Okay.
Where we've got the, you can actually see my track changes here. Under discussion, there's an in that we don't need after on a lot in increases.
Oh, thank you.
And if I can go ahead with one more, just after the page break, the first paragraph that starts on the subsequent page, I think we may want to specify that the existing house is slightly over 8 feet from the property line now, instead of just saying slightly over 8 feet.
And then I had one typo in the discussion of 810 Shane Place. The fourth paragraph down. The second sentence, there's just an extra word in there. It says, Ms. Zoglin also pointed out that the structure issue will need site plan review. The word issue should be deleted.
Okay.
Linda, I think since I've got track changes on here too, I can probably just send this document to you.
That would be great.
That helps.
Thanks.
Does anyone else have any other changes?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adopt the November 16th minute as revised.
Second.
How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So all 5 members voted in favor. The next minutes are from December 16th.
Anything on the first page?
I think you can leave me out of the motion. Oh, no, it lists me as abstained. Okay.
Is it? Do you want that out of there or?
There is a
Yeah,
statement.
he had left the meeting, so he wasn't there.
Okay, so remove abstain. Okay.
Remove
To
him.
remove me completely, I guess would
Yeah.
make sense.
Right.
Okay.
I thought we've had him there before, but on things he's abstained from, but that's okay. I can take him out here. Okay, so he's out of the public hearing, closing the public hearing, and then motion to approve. I had a minor change in the resolution. Well, actually, first of all, I just noticed that there should be a resolution number, shouldn't there?
Yeah, I'll fill that in.
Okay, I'll send it to you and you can fill that in. And also, it seems like there's a typo under, let's see, first, second, third, the fourth whereas. The date should span from 2018 to 2019 rather than 2017 to 2019.
Good catch.
Yeah.
I guess we need the second, which board member seconded it? Which would have been Joanne, it seems like from the notes above. Do you want me to add that there or you want to do that? It should be Shannon.
What's the question?
I just put in Joanne's name as the seconding board member,
Okay.
consistent with the indication above.
Oh, right.
I'm sure she did.
I did.
That's what we
I
said.
did it.
Okay, and I'll take out Justin here. Where is put to vote? Okay, and then if there are no other comments there, that brings us back to the pavilion discussion. And I had one comment, actually 2 fixes under that. If I could go ahead, in the third paragraph, the one that begins member of Leedstra, there's an extraneous A, take some time. Actually, it looks like so the code change will take some time to accomplish.
Thank you.
And then the Mr. Dunleavy's name is misspelled, so I just took out an extra E.
Okay.
A couple of paragraphs down from that.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay, I'll make a motion then to adopt the December 16th minutes as amended.
Second.
Vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Susan, Dave, I don't think I heard you.
Yep,
Aye.
All right. If all 5 members voted in favor.
So Linda, I'll send these documents to you right after the meeting.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion topics? Otherwise, I think we're done tonight.
no, was good.
We're good.
Nice
Okay.
to see you all.
Yeah, good to see you all.
Good to see everyone.
Okay, thank you. I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Aye.
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 Okay, meeting's ended at 7:52. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Mindy. Thank you,
Thanks,
Linda.
Susan. Thanks, everybody.